Welcome back to WGNC Garage. Today we're going to be servicing the rear differential on my Stagea. So I found some AMSOIL 7090, which 70W590 is the original OEM spec. Now I was able to verify with my friend at a Nissan dealership that my Stagea does have a limited slip rear, open front. So I have the slip lock limited slip additive. So I will be using that today. Now, if you notice, I have these little ramps placed all around the vehicle. These are kind of like a low profile ramp. So reason I have them in front and rear across the whole vehicle is to keep the vehicle as level as possible. That way when I fill the diff, I don't overfill it by just lifting the rear and causing it to be at an angle. So that is why I have all four. So I'm going to get the vehicle up onto the ramp and get ready to go underneath and start draining the oil. Alright, so the vehicle is up on the ramp, and you may have noticed I engaged snow mode. So snow mode on an all-wheel drive version will engage second gear on the transmission, and the Ateza will actually engage the front wheel drive at 30% instead of adjusting if the vehicle slips. I don't want to eject a ramp or have it slide, and while it may not hurt anything, I would have to reset and then just waste time. So that is why I engaged the snow mode. So let's get underneath, start draining the oil and filling it up. Alright, so we are under the Stagea and drain is right here. Obvious easy access place. However, the fill point is kind of hidden. So most of the time you see them like on the side or something like that. While it technically faces to the side, it's actually right here. So you have to go in at an angle and, sorry, no, it is actually this little piece right here. So it's kind of hidden into the darkness, but it is right here. So this is our fill port and then our drain port. Alright, so the drain plug on my Stagea uses a 1/2-inch drive. It's kind of tight space over here, so bear with me while I get this drain plug out. Alright, that's loose. Now for the fill, because I have a temporary piping right now while I eventually get a nicer exhaust, I had to use an extension, so we have to come in over here and once again break it free. So they are now loose. Now let's see the condition. Now it's been a little bit overdue. It's been about 100,000 kilometers, just over that, since I last changed the oil on the differential. So let's see the condition. Not bad at all, actually. Very minimal metal on the magnet, and it's good for limited slip, or for really any differential. You don't want to see large amounts of metal on a drain plug. Put that one right there. Open up the fill port. I might actually need to use this. Alright, there we go. So now I'm gonna let this drain out, and once it finishes draining, I will return. Alright, so while the differential was draining, I cleaned up the drain plug and fill plug a little bit. So as you can see, clean magnet is removable. You can take this off, and if there's any debris underneath, you can clean it, which I was able to get mine without having to take it off. Now, because it is at a limited slip, I do have to add the limited slip additive. However, due to the tight space underneath here, I'm going to test fit, make sure I can actually put this into the diff, which where's that? Yeah, so it's not gonna make it to the fill port. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna make sure this will make it to the drain port. If so, I will add half of this, pour this into here, and then pour the remaining into the differentials. So let's make sure this will fit comfortably. We might have a slight issue. Alright, so it seems that even with the squishy bag, that we will not be able to fit the bag in there to fill it. So I do have a hand pump, so I'm going to get that and get this ready to be filled in. So alright, so there's many different methods that you can use to fill. These are the two that I basically have available. So a little pump, which this end is actually quite large, won't fit in the bag. However, the bag is soft, so it'll squish, and I can squish the bag as I need. This one, which I'll clean out with brake cleaner, remove the power steering fluid inside of this, I can suction out and quickly press in. So for the sake of not having to crush the bag and possibly spilling it, I'll be using just this little siphon pump to fill the vehicle. So let me clean this out. I'm going to be using some brake fluid, and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I've cleaned the tool, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the rubber here likes to get stuck, which in this case it is, and doesn't prevent it. Now if you do keep forcing this down that tube, the rubber seal will come off and then it won't actually work. So I'm going to take a little bit of gear oil and just put it on little rubber pieces, so that way it can slide down nicely. So there we go. And yep, it stopped. So you might have to do that more than once. we go. Now we'll lock this in. And what I'm going to do, since it's basically just a siphon tube, I'm going to cut this open. And so that is now in here. So I will now the oil is very thick, as you all might understand, because it is gear oil. So I will be taking my time to make sure that this actually fills up all the way. Now that's kind of what I got right here, so what I will do is I will bend that, and I will press out the oil air. There we go, until it's just oil. And then now that I got the siphon almost completely filled, we'll head under. Whoops, I forgot to put in the drain plug. All right. All right. So now that that's in, and the oil was cleaned up, now we can actually add the fluid. All right, so there we go. Now that that's in, we will press all the fluid into the differential. Lovely sound. So I will continue filling the differential in this method. Once it is filled, I shall return. Alright, so it took one whole one, about just half of this one. As you can see, it is draining out the fill port, so a very small stream of oil. So now I will put this plug back in. Actually, it would probably be easier if I reach in like this. Bruh. Alright, there we go. I didn't think it'd be actually that difficult to place the fill plug back in, but I guess I was wrong. Alright, so now that the fill plug has been placed, I will tighten this down. There we go. Alright, so the fill plug is in. Now we'll clean off the diff. And the muffler. I don't like smelling burnt gear oil as I drive. So now that the differential and everything is clean, we have now finished